For example, there are some students where like whereas my student can explain investment concept very well in the class, but they still spend most of their allowances like PTPTN during the first 2 weeks of the month, and they struggle financially until the next allowances arrive.
Welcome back to Borak Polisi. In collaboration with CriSEES and Investment Malaysia, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Damia.
And today marks the final episode of this season of Borak Polisi. Throughout our previous episode, we have explored the role of Investment Malaysia, discussed the financial challenges that faced by youth, and learned practical way to build healthier financial habits. But after all this discussion, one important question still remains. Are we actually making progress in strengthening financial literacy among Malaysian youth?
In today's episode, we have our guest here with us, Dr. Siti Norbaya Mohd Rashid, a senior lecturer from Faculty of Business Administration at UiTM Puncak Alam, to give her special thoughts about this issue. So, Doctor, can you first please briefly introduce yourself and your experience as a senior lecturer to our viewers?
Assalamualaikum. Hi, thank you for having me. It's a truly pleasure to be here. First of all, let me briefly introduce myself. I am Dr. Siti Norbaya Mohd Rashid, a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Business and Management, UiTM, Cawangan, Selangor. So my teaching and research focuses mainly on finance, investment behavior, financial market, and financial decision making.
So that was a very clear introduction from your part. So can we just now proceed to the whole podcast session? So to start, we all know that right now in today's economic climate is becoming tougher, right? With the rising cost of oil, gas, and also like everyday basic necessities, financial strain has become a real concern, especially for many young people like us students.
Unfortunately, many students and young people who will be the one that shouldering all of the burdens tomorrow and are still unaware of the consequences and also the importance of the financial literacy. Nowadays, it's so easy to spend money on things that we want rather than things that we need, such as we have if like these days like young people have their enthusiasm on some boy group or girl group, so they will like splurge their money on albums, sometimes overpriced photo card, or maybe some random things that they don't even need, but they just that buy it maybe because of FOMO or just they just feel want to. Okay, so that is exactly why we are launching this kind of campaign to spread the awareness and help the students to learn how to save their budget for their future. So, Doctor, from your lecturer's perspective, what is your point of view regarding this issue and the current economic state?
Okay, so financial literacy has become increasingly important. So especially into this rapidly changing financial landscape. So we are living in a digital economy where financial decisions are no longer limited to saving money in a bank. So young people today are exposed to digital banking, e-wallet, online shopping, cryptocurrency, investment platform, buy now pay later facilities, and countless financial products. So while this innovation create many opportunity, they also come with greater financial risks if individual lack sufficient financial knowledge. So in Malaysia, financial literacy has improved over the years through initiative by Bank Negara Malaysia, the Securities Commissions, educational institution, and various financial organization. But there are studies continue to show that many young people still struggle with budgeting, saving inconsistent, managing debt, and making informed investment decision. So I think financial literacy is no longer just about understanding investment decision. It's about developing lifelong financial habit that support financial well-being.
I see, Doctor. That was very like clear insight, and I can very much understand and relate in like today's world. Also, when I observe my surroundings and also my friends, I also can see what you just said or just now, and relate it to my surroundings itself. So I want to ask you, as like a finance lecturer who face students and young people every day, what do you observe about students nowadays, like in terms of their financial spending, money, money, and also their habits of managing their money? And do you have any concern that concern you the most? Yeah.
Okay, so today's students are more interested in learning about investment than previous generation during my time. So many have already heard about stocks, okay, unit trusts, cryptocurrency, and exchange traded funds. However, my biggest concern is that some students focus on making quick profit, okay, rather than building a long-term financial stability. So many obtain financial information about social media, okay, from social media without verifying its accuracy. So I also noticed that budgeting is often overlooked. Students may know how to invest, okay, but they do not consistently track their expenses or build emergency saving. So financial success is not determined how much you earn, but how well you manage your money. For example, there are some students can where like there whereas my student can explain investment concept very well in the class, but they still spend most of their allowances like PTPTN during the first 2 weeks of the month, and they struggle financially until the next allowances arrive. So the key here is financial knowledge should be reflected in your financial behavior supposedly.
It seems that most of students they have like some budgeting blindness, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the students and the youth actually they somehow they know about it but they don't apply it into their life. So I think that is a concern also.
Yes,
Okay,
true.
so doctor, what do you think are the biggest financial challenge faced by students or young Malaysian nowadays? Because I think one of the I can see is maybe as we know buy now pay later, and also sometimes they want to gain profit in easier way, and they also tend to get scams a lot, especially on telegrams. So what's your opinion about this, doctor?
All right. So, from my observation, there are several major challenges. Firstly, the rising cost of living, of course, okay, means students have to spend more on accommodation, transportation, foods, and daily necessities compared to the previous generation. Okay. And secondly, the social media has created a culture of comparison. So, many young people feel pressured or FOMO to maintain a certain lifestyle, so even when it exceeds their financial means. Okay, and thirdly, the availability of the easy credit, as you said, buy now pay later services and credit facilities, it makes the spending much easier than before. Unfortunately, the many young people do not fully understand the long-term consequences, the long-term effect of accumulating debt. Okay, and lastly, many students begin earning income through part-time work or online businesses, but they are lack with knowledge to manage their money effectively. So earning money is important, yes, but managing it wisely is even more important. So today the challenge is not only earning money, but resisting unnecessary spending.
I think that is so we can very relate it, especially about the lifestyles, because the youth, especially young generation, somehow they have a mindset where they have to keep on track with the lifestyle nowadays to stay updated even with their circles. So I think maybe this youth generation can really like think twice before do something, especially regarding their financial decision.
I also agree with Hannah, and also especially with your insight just now with the existence of social media. Also, a lot of students gain this like FOMOism right now. They have this feeling of competition. They have this feeling of missing out. So I get the students, but I also think that what you just advised right now should be a very good implications in their life. So, doctor, I also want to ask, as a lecturer and like a tenaga pelajar, I would like to ask that how can schools and universities play a bigger role in improving financial literacy among students?
Okay. So, like educational institution like university or school should integrate financial literacy into students' learning experiences instead of treating it as one-off program. Okay, so university can organize investment simulations, okay, financial planning competitions, entrepreneurships project, and collaboration with industry practitioners. So, as a lecturer, we can also incorporate real-world financial case study, okay, into the classroom discussion so that the student understand how the financial concept apply in everyday's life. Okay, so the financial literacy should not only be taught in finance courses, but I think it is a life skill that benefits every student regardless how of their academic discipline.
That's a very fresh point of view and insight. So yeah.
Because I agree with you, Doctor. Because I think other than we ourselves that need to training ourselves to start budgeting and stuff. I think schools and university can use some initiative to spread the awareness to the students too. Okay, so Doctor, for your information, we are collaborating with Investment Malaysia, an initiative under the Securities Commission Malaysia that helps individuals invest while allowing them to monitor their portfolio, transaction, dividends, and fees. In your opinion, how effective are saving and investment platform in encouraging students to become more motivated and disciplined in manage their finances?
Okay. So digital platform has made saving and investing much more accessible than even before. Okay. So many applications allow students to start investing with relatively small amounts. Okay, which help remove the misconception that before this we think that only investing is only for wealthy individuals. However, technology is simply a tool. Discipline remain the key factor. A good platform cannot replace good financial habit. So the student should first develop consistent saving behavior before spending into investment. For example, today, student can start investing with as little as 10 ringgit or 20 ringgit through regulated digital investment platform. This is a huge improvement compared to the past when investing seemed only for wealthy adults. Okay, so however, have to understand that owning the app, okay, doesn't mean someone will automatically become financially disciplined. Okay, it is similar to downloading a fitness app. Okay, it doesn't make us fit
Mm.
unless we actually
Right.
exercise.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with you, Doctor. That having when you say like having a exercising app doesn't mean that one would exercise every day. So, in the future, what kind of financial knowledge do young Malaysians need the most, in your opinion?
Okay, so future financial literacy, okay, will extend beyond the traditional budgeting and saving. Okay, so the young Malaysians need to understand digital finance, AI, artificial intelligence in financial services, cybersecurity, sustainable investing, retirement planning, and responsible borrowing. So as technology continue to evolve, financial literacy must also evolve. Ultimately, the most important skill will be the ability to make informed financial decisions amid constant change. Okay, so the artificial intelligence can now recommend investment, but AI cannot replace human judgment. Furthermore, the future financial literacy must also include cybersecurity and digital financial awareness.
Mm. Okay, Doctor. To conclude today's episode, so what final advice would you give to the young Malaysians who feel like it's too late or too difficult to start managing their finances? Because some of them might feel like, oh, I'm already in my 20s. It's already too late for me to start invest, saving, and budgeting. And there is some of us might think like, oh, I think budgeting or start saving is so hard. Like maybe they're hard to control themselves or they don't know how to. Because I know this is never this is better late than never. Okay, so what's your advice, Doctor?
Okay, my advice is very simple. It's never too late to start. You do not need a high income to become financially responsible. Okay, you can start with small steps. Okay, track your expenses, create a simple monthly budget. Okay, save consistently. Okay, even if it is only a small amount. And you need to learn continuously and invest gradually. Remember that financial freedom is not achieved overnight. It is built through many small, consistent decision making over time. Okay, so money itself neither good nor bad. What truly matters is how wisely we manage it. Okay, every financial journey begins with a single step, and the best time to start is today. Okay, so I think we should start, even though we don't think that it's too late already.
That's a very important advice because some young people right now who like spend their money recklessly, that some of them, in my opinion, they kind of feel like it's as they spend so much money, they have to indulge in spending their money. So I feel like with what you just said can encourage students to be more aware and be financially aware that by even like in smallest amount of money, it can help them with budgeting, especially for their future. And with this state of economy right now, I think this is what we need the most. And I'm very thankful with all of the insights from you, Doctor. But with that, we've come to the end of today's episode. And I hope that you found this discussion helpful and learned something valuable about managing your finances.
Okay, a big thank you once again to Dr. Siti Norbaya for taking time to share your knowledge and insight with us. Your advice will definitely inspire more young Malaysians to start building a better financial habits.
We will now be bidding our viewers. Thank you so much for listening to Borak Polisi in collaboration with CriSEES and InvestMart and also Dr. Siti Norbaya. We hope this episode encourages you to take that first step towards a brighter financial future. Until next time, take care. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank Doctor.